Hi, shalom everyone, another tour in Israel. We're in the Haneviim Street over here and walking towards Ethiopia Street. Let's enjoy, sorry about the noise, there's a lot of building work, a huge amount of content here, friends, over here. Now first of all, over here we've got Bikur Cholim hospitals, connected Shari Tzedek. We've got a famous physician's house right behind me over here in Israel. I believe this is a famous Strauss Street over here. And let's walk towards Ethiopia Street now over here. And nothing like walking like a community around Israel. We've got a flag over here. And this is a view of the hospital. It's like, let's say, a part two. We just did another video towards other side of Jaffa Street. And let's walk. It's a very classic building, hospital. And nothing like exploring Israel, friends. Over here, you've got a small kiosk over here. Really cool, you've got over here. And let's go. Some of these streets are very narrow, so a lot of the buses can block, let's just say, the views per se, unfortunately. But this is it, we're in Jerusalem. Over here, this is another side of the street. A lot of classic buildings, a historic building, another one we've got here, over here. What is this? This is a St. Joseph convent. It was a school run by French nuns, which began its educational activity in the Old City. A monumental structure in new classical style, built around an inner courtyard and completed in stages from 1887 to 1930s. The convent stands behind the high wall. So once again, this happens to be, let's just say, not necessarily a Jewish site in of itself. If I'm not mistaken, someone told me that a lot of these hospitals they used to have in Jerusalem, many years ago, we're talking about 100 plus years ago, there used to be a lot of missionary work. That's why the word achot is actually used in modern Hebrew as a nurse, because it's like sisters, like in the terminology of nuns over here. They're just a side point over here. So, okay, we've got a street called Harav Agan. He was a famous rabbi, Harav Avram Chaim Gagin. He was Rishon LeZion, chief rabbi of Israel. He happened to have been. This is Harav Agan Street, and this is a Haneviim Street also. Very interesting. So, over here, this is just across the road, and we've got another site on my left, friends, which we're going to see. Our friends, we're a community. We explore all over Israel and enjoy it. Some classic size, let's say, windows from Israel, balconies. Now, what have we got here? We're going to go across the road here. Because there are some old style buildings. Nothing beats Israel. You can see the side streets of Israel also. What's this? Okay, this is a pediatrician Helena Kagan. Helena Kagan, from 1889 to 1978, founded pediatrics in Jerusalem, including mother and child care clinics and daycare centers for Jews and Arabs alike. Active in the Jewish women's organization that joined later WISO, Israel Prize Laureate 1975, sister-in-law of Rachel Kagan Cohen, woman activist, Declaration of Independence, MK in the first and fifth Knesset over here. Another interesting site is some old classical buildings here in Jerusalem. We are right outside over here. Very interesting. So this is the Kagan house, and let's continue over here. We've got another oldish style building over here. You can see the old style windows here of Jerusalem. The Agudat Yad Sarah, this happens to be another famous site over here in Jerusalem. Got okay, the Agudat Yad Sarah over here. You can see very old style roads. This is the Strauss Street. We're trying to walk our way towards the Ethiopia Street over here in Israel, here in Jerusalem. This is just another side of the road we just came from, over here. Okay, so we're just back over here. This is where we just came from. This is the building itself. The Benjamin Hostel. This is where we just were filming just right now, this other side of the road. In 1891, the Imperial Russian Orthodox Palestine Society built a hostel for pilgrims. On the gate of the building, you can see the name of its architects, Alexia Frangai. The Yad Sarah organization operated out of the building from 1976 to 2000. It was meant to be demolished, but they saved it. So let's continue this tour, friends. You can see old classic buildings here in Jerusalem. Over here. We're walking our way towards the famous Ethiopia Street over here. Once again, you can see these famous side roads here in Jerusalem. Which road is this? Another very cute road. This is a B'nai Brit Street. This happens to be Rehov B'nai Brit. We happen to be in. And what have we got here? Very nice, cool side road. You've got a Cafe Miracles over here. B'nai Brit Street over here. Once again in B'nai Brit Street over here. This is where we just came from. Side of the road. You're there for Ethiopia? Okay. Okay, so we just want to get the right street. Okay, let's continue going. Some nice Israeli flags here. We've got a Herman, is this Haneviim Hotel over here. Oh wow, you can see the Israeli flag. Now we've got the Taba home, built in 1888, over by the architect and archaeologist Conrad Schick for his home. It was a part of the rich Palestinian homes this happened to have been over here originally. You can see, wow, beautiful Israeli flags here. We've got a sign centre over here, Haneviim Hotel. This is Jerusalem at its splendour. Where we just came from, let's continue. We're walking towards Ethiopia Street. Friends, we're a community, we love exploring Israel. Over here. מה נשמע? רחוב אתיופיה זה ישר או?
אני אמרתי לך לפני חצי שעה, זה פה רחוב אתיופי.
אוקיי, מצוין. אני מצלם בשביל ערוץ.
מה יש שם?
כן, יש לי ערוץ, אני מצלם בכל הארץ. זה שם? אוקיי, מצוין.
זה.
אוקיי, אני חושב זה היה זה.
אני חושב, רגע, אני אצלם אותך ליעקב.
אוקיי, כן.
אני יכול לדבר איתך חופשי, אתה לא כועס?
לא, אני בסדר.
למה אתה לא מנקה את השיניים? למה אתה לא מנקים קוד דנטלי?
אני עושה את זה בסדר.
לא, אל תזניח. שים גם מלח, על המברשת גם שאבטחה לך.
אוקיי, בסדר, שם.
רגע, אני אשלח אותך ליעקב.
Okay, this is a famous Ethiopia street over here. Let's continue. Over here, Shnia. You can see the beautiful street. Haneviim Street, another street sign over here. Okay, מצוין, זה Ethiopia. Okay, תודה.
איך קוראים לך?
מיכאל. תודה. Okay, I just met my cousin.
אבא שלך היה יחזקאל, כן?
כן. זה סבא יחזקאל, כן. תודה רבה. שבוע טוב. That's just very interesting. So we're in Ethiopia Street now, here in Jerusalem. Amazing. This street is called Ethiopia Street. Now we're exploring some Ethiopia here in Jerusalem. Nothing like that. Beautiful. You know, I really love to go to an Ethiopian synagogue. Over here you can see Ethiopia. You can see an Ethiopian flag also. Look at the classic building walls over here. Friends, we are in Ethiopia Street. The consulate's residence over here. Built in 1895 and used until 1902 by the Austrian consulate. Wow, this is another famous building here in Ethiopia Street. We're going to do separate videos here. You can see classic style. You can see nice side streets. Wow, look at the buildings. This is really proper Jerusalem, friends. You can see you've got another place here. You've got Jerusalem Halba Shishashan building, built by the Nash Ashibi family during the 19th century as a two-story house surrounded by a wall with an iron gate. Beautiful. Let's continue going. It's Ethiopian Street. Really old buildings here, but there's a little historical context. Another one over here. What's this, friends? This is Eliezer Ben Yehuda building, built by the Nash Ashibi family during 1909 to 1922. The top floor was the home of Eliezer Ben Yehuda, a Hebrew lexicographer, and the Hatzvi newspaper editor over here. Wow. Ben Yehuda was an important driving force behind the revival of daily spoken Hebrew language in the country. This is actually the place he lived in. Very interesting. Okay, and we've got another place here. What's this? Okay, this is an Ethiopian church compound, so we're not going to go inside here, but this is just outside there. Okay. This is probably the private entrance to Eliezer Ben Yehuda's residence. And wow, we've got another place here. This is content non-stop on the street. What's this? This is a city committed for Jerusalem's Jews, a site for the Haganah headquarters, this happens to be. The building was the home of the city Committee for Jerusalem's Jews, and during 1928 to 1930 it housed the Haganah headquarters of the Jerusalem district, which included the city central district, its neighborhoods and its surrounding settlements. Over here, once again in Ethiopia Street. Let's continue. A lot of significances. We've got a lot of plaques here, so the municipality has really coordinated and told us here. Another classic building, but it's a Dr. Moshe Newman home, built in the 19th century by Nash Ashibi family as a two-story residential house surrounded by a wall with an iron gate. The internal diseases specialist Moshe Newman, 1885 to 1964, who worked in the Bikor Cholim hospital, lived here for many years, apparently in this place. Let's continue. Wow. So a lot of very significant people lived here of yesteryear. And we're going to have another site over here. What's this, friends? Okay, friends, we've got over here the Haneviim Street house over here. Wow, this looks like another famous site, friends. You can see beautiful palm trees. It was a school, Jewish religious school of the Mizrahi movement, later housed the Takemoni School. A front wing in international style was added in the 1930s. Named after Hannah Strach-Klowski, it had been used for several educational institutions. You can see beautiful palm trees here. I'm not sure what it's currently used as, but it looks like it's used as something else. Another famous site here in Jerusalem. Friends, we are in the famous Ethiopian Street. I think we're quite near the Mir Street over here. We're going to conclude this presentation in a second. We've got another famous house. Okay, so what's this? We can't I can't zoom it in, so we've got to just go over there. Got to get my glasses on. This is the Alma School. Let's check this out, friends. Let's get my specs on. This is the Alma School, built in the late 19th century in the Ethiopian compound. 1937 to 1947, used for the Aluma School by an association to teach students for the British Mandate Education Department matriculation. The teaching language was Hebrew, which won the opposition of the local veteran Jewish community. Used currently as an educational institution for girls. Very interesting. And you've got a sign over here, because I think we're right next to Mea Shearim, ultra-Orthodox area, not to use the internet, also something we have to point out over here, friends. Over here, so I think we're bridging on that. And this is Yeshivat Pe'er Yerushalayim. We happen to be outside over here where we're going to visit now. Wishing you all a fantastic day.